Hey there, one-star guests, and welcome to Horrorphobia, a spooky movie review podcast for the horror lovers and the horrorphobics alike. I'm your host, Jake. Next to me is my wife, Emily.
Hello.
Across the internet, we have our friend Ryan,
Hey.
and all the way across the slutty internet, we have our friends Ian and Jake.
Hello.
Don't go in there, little girl.
Funnier the second time, actually.
Absolutely. I'll deliver an improv line like scripted. I don't give a fuck. I can't be funny twice.
We lost the recording.
All right. We are a group of lifelong friends who review horror movies. Why horror movies? Because I love them.
And I hate them.
And we have a great episode for you today. On this episode, we will be reviewing 2022's Barbarian.
For the first time ever.
For the first time ever, we're talking about it.
I'm really excited to hear your review.
Everybody's all right. First, we will do our movie synopsis, our spoiler-free review. Then we'll get everyone's score for the film. We review on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being 10 being a Then Ryan, acting as our resident scaredy cat, will rate the spook factor of the film.
And then we will begin with our spoiler-filled walkthrough of the film.
And I will be providing behind the scenes info? Question mark.
See if we let him.
If
this
we
time.
fucking nail it.
Dude, you guys are clutch.
Fucking-
So clutch.
I'll be providing critical reception.
And if it
Upon
applies,
release.
I'll
Yep.
fuck you, goddammit.
I'm so sorry. I thought I'd finished my
The
sentence.
script doesn't say riff. And if it applies, I'll provide
Yeah,
production
well.
budget versus box office gross and our own personal fucking likes and dislikes of the goddamn film.
And that's if Craig stays on the line.
Yeah. And
Hold
then
on to your butt.
different movie. All right. Then after the review, we're all going to play a game. This week's game is going to be red flag, green flag. And then after the game, we're going to go to the horror phobia wheel and decide next week's movie. So,
Okay.
like I said before, this week's movie is 2022's Barbarian. My synopsis is this. Barbarian is a story about a young woman who arrives at her Airbnb and finds a mysterious young man that is already staying there. Despite her healthy skepticism, she decides to stay at the house, and she ends up finding out that there may be more to this man and to this house than it originally seems. My review is this. Barbarian is a prime example of masterful storytelling with a meaningful message that doesn't beat you over the head and come in your face with allegory. #MeToo. So masterful, in fact, that most people I've talked to about this film don't typically see the full scale of allegory that I saw. What they saw was a horror film that begs to be seen and experienced in a theater with other people. The twists and turns of this movie are so rewarding that it's difficult to find a review that doesn't urge you to see this movie knowing as little as possible. One of the main standouts of this story is the main character, Tess. Tess is one of the most intelligent, shrewd, and empathetic characters that I've seen in a long time. You won't be spending your time yelling at her character on screen because of the choices she makes. All of the other roles are played extremely well by the additional actors. A tight script, good direction, well acted, and perfectly paced. All this to say that the Venn diagram of this film has struck the perfect balance of elevated horror allegory, dark comedy, and a fun popcorn horror film. So I'm giving this film an 8.5 Ricky Tikki Tavies out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Ryan.
Yeah. So I didn't write one this week because I was busy. So I just am gonna say it. I liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was great. I thought that it was very entertaining and scary, but not as scary as Hereditary, which we just watched, which has scarred me for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah.
I think that the scary parts were kind of broken up by a lot of humor. It's a very funny movie. So those parts were very enjoyable for me. And I like the acting, I like the storyline. All in all, it's just a great movie. So I gave it a 9.1 public breastfeedings.
Nice. Emily, what are you giving this movie? I'm going out. I'm
Oh,
doing
no,
different
no,
order.
Scramble.
Sarah.
Shake it up.
Formation. I love it.
Okay. This is my vote. I think this movie is a very easy watch. I don't have a lot written down for it because we've seen it like 4 times now. I like the twists. It doesn't go where you think it's going. I do feel like there could have been a little bit more to it. It's over and done kind of quickly. But overall, I think it's a great movie. It's giving Don't Breathe, but I feel like that might just be the setting.
Detroit.
Are they both in Detroit?
Yep.
Oh, that
Mm.
makes sense. It's giving Detroit, you know?
The true shit of the earth. Sorry, Ohio.
Oh no. Yeah.
Dude, I take Lake Michigan. I mean, at least we don't have to share a lake with Detroit.
Everyone
And
that I've met
it
from
reminds me
Michigan-
so much of Buffalo.
It is.
It's like,
I-
and I don't have to look down upon them because it's like, oh god, they
Yeah.
shit in the same water in like a bucket.
We're the same. We have a kinship with all the Rust Belt cities, so we
Yeah.
can't talk shit about that.
Absolutely.
That hard.
But,
Except
I mean,
Cleveland, we can talk shit about
Anybody who's had a lake on fire, like, is
Yeah.
kind of different. It's like, well, you burned hotter. Like your shit was worse.
That's true. At least it's not that. I'm giving it an 8.5 square feet of living space.
Mm.
That's good.
Nice.
Yes.
Yep.
Ian, what are you giving this film?
So I didn't really have a ton written down for this, but I overall enjoyed this movie. I would say the first half I enjoyed it the most. That was the best part for me. I like Skarsgård's role and how you're misled into thinking he's the bad guy, and the tension between him and Tess. And I also like Justin Long and how well he portrayed a piece of shit. He
Oh,
was,
yeah.
pretty good at that. So, second half had some good twists, and you had no way of preparing for those. And
Mhm.
I would give it an 8.5 hairy milk bottles.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
All right. Other Jake, what are you giving this film?
I actually wrote an entire like 10-page thesis on this movie and everything. I came in here and I threw it away because everyone decided to just go off the cuff here. And I gave this 7.8 babas.
Babas.
Right.
It was it reminded me of Insidious, like the way it took you to different phases of something, like, but Insidious was like working out of boxes in new houses, and this one went from a house like an Airbnb to just tunnels, and then it was just doors to tunnels and tunnels and more tunnels. And that's what the second act of this film just felt like. And it was good though. It was an unexpected turn that the tunnels would just keep coming, but the ropes that kept you kind of tethered to moving forward, but also like tethered to reality, and also like tied into the main story, was the solid acting from each of the characters as the movie progressed, and like what I would consider different vignettes of the film as they moved and progressed the movie forward. Like, it kept subverting your reality, and it kept being playful, even once you thought you had it figured out. So it kept kind of pushing those and just keep going down those stupid tunnels. It was the opposite of cozy, which I don't like, but
You don't think so?
you know that at this point. I'm a
Detroit's
fan
not
of the
cozy?
cozy. And other than the milk and the pornos, I'm out for the cozy factor.
That room with the pillows and the blankets on the ground, that's pretty cozy.
Oh yeah.
the
Oh,
TV?
it was like a little snuggle room
Right,
where
yeah.
you learn everything you need about mommy and baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm not
Amazing.
sold. I'm not sold. I wouldn't rent.
Okay.
All right. You already mentioned it before, Ryan, that it was kind of scary. But what are you rating the spook factor of this film?
Definitely less scary than Hereditary, but still got me a little bit. Like I said, those scary moments were broken up a little bit by the humor. So I'm giving it a 6.7 additional square feet found underneath my house in secret tunnels.
Nice. All right.
Every inch
So
counts.
I'm sorry that Emily, mine was kind of different. I know you said square footage, but I was like, mine was kind of like
That's okay. Everyone
Whatever.
else's
You know what?
was boob related, so
that's true. That's true. Bobes.
we all watched the same movie.
All right.
Good to know that.
So I guess since we gotten the reviews and the spook factor, I guess we'll transition into spoilers.
Hey everyone, Ryan here, and I'm here to tell you about Us, Horophobia, the spooky movie review podcast. Now, we love doing this show for you guys weekly, absolutely free of charge, but if there's something you want to do to support us, there's many ways you can do that. One of those ways would be to tell a friend, because word of mouth travels faster than you think. Another huge way would be to leave a review on our podcast on either Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps because it really will boost us up the algorithm and allow us to be more visible, so more people like you who enjoy the podcast will be able to find us. And we also have our Patreon at patreon.com/horrorphobia. There you will find all of our tiers and the benefits you will get for subscribing to them. And then we have our socials, Twitter at Horrorphobia Pod, Instagram at Horrorphobia Podcast, and our Facebook is Horrorphobia, a spooky movie review podcast. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the show.
So Ryan, how much was the box office gross versus the production budget?
It was a $4.5 million budget, and they made about 45 million gross. So 10 times. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
They got my ducats.
Was this his first movie?
Yes, I guess technically.
Who are we talking
They-
about here?
Zach Kreger. He's Zach of The Whitest Kids You Know. They did a movie that has a horrible Rotten Tomato score. He co-directed it, I think, with Trevor, called Miss March. I don't know if you've
All right.
seen that.
R.I.P. Trevor.
R.I.P. Trevor.
Mm.
Miss March is like the guy. It's kind of similar to Kicking It Old School in the sense that the guy like gets in an accident, wakes up from a coma, and then finds out that his high school sweetheart is like a Playboy playmate, and then they go out there to like find her.
Mm.
It's just like the end of like raunchy like college. I don't know. It didn't do
Was that
well.
more of a B movie?
Yeah. I mean, but
Yeah.
like I said, you could still call Barbarian his first because it's him as like it's only him because it was
Oh.
co-directed. So I would say that technically it's his first solo directed film. So
I love
gotcha.
I love the B movie.
We haven't.
Now you fucked up.
talking
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
the B movie. So how
I
much
feel like we haven't done enough B movies.
like cheap
That's-
ones? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We can do the B movie.
The-
Yeah,
B
I
movie?
guess we'll get there. We've been
That's
doing,
yeah.
I feel like we've been doing too good of movies, which is like an embarrassment of riches.
yeah. Well, I was thinking of doing one of my favorite horror films, which is another like cheaply made film. So maybe I'll put that on the wheel for tonight
Stay tuned, listeners.
for this episode.
I mean, we did Color Out of Space. I don't feel like people really liked
That's true.
that movie.
Yeah, good
I
one.
mean, these are all like decently low budget films. They're just they're just good filmmakers that can make a cheap movie.
Even Funny Games, I would
lucrative.
say that was
Yeah.
pretty low on the
Mhm.
Yeah,
spectrum.
It's niche.
sure,
Not many people know about it.
that's true. So what was the critical reception for the film?
It was pretty good. It was on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score was 93 and the audience I think was 73. I do feel like a lot of them that we do have like reviewed well.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah.
very
Wait,
high. It's very
That's
high.
crazy. That's crazy
Yeah.
that the audience was so low.
Well, yeah, I was
Dude, the-
looking through and trying to find like a reason that people generally didn't like it audience score wise, and it just said that like the third act leaves a little bit to be desired at the end. It just kind of ends, I guess, which I like.
It
An
did
ending that
feel
just
quick.
stops. Yeah,
It did feel quick, but I kind of felt like with all this set, like how long of a movie do you want? Like
right.
I
Yeah,
felt like the
can't all
setup
be 3 hours.
because they were dealing with three different stories. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and they had to set them all up, and I think that it was all pretty necessary. Everything that was in
Yeah.
there. I think the movie runtime was still like
It's like an hour.
Nine-
I
Something like
think hour 41 or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
hour 41 or whatever.
I think
So-
it's just the
I
fact that
think
it,
it was. Sorry.
or just that it holds your attention. Like it just
yeah,
moves quickly.
And I think
For
it was meant to look like stagey and like kind of like it almost like Hereditary looked like a soundstage or like a like to
Oh,
where it was like when they're
especially-
doing the eras of something.
Yeah, the 70s
Yes.
scene in Detroit,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the grass looked
I could see-
painted.
But even
Yeah.
from the like
Yeah.
the credits of it, it's meant to stylistically kind of be that. So I think the stuff they did was subtle enough. I could see some people not liking it, and the reviews were like when I was searching for this movie, like some of the just scrolling through like what people thought of the film to get an overall vibe, like only reading like the blurb of it, I was like, oh, a lot of people hate this movie because of that second act and the fact that they're like, I love the first act and like it got so raw and twisty.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I don't know. And I get
It-
that some of that stuff was jarring, but I think it was intentional.
It's all just dudes who hate the Me Too, you know? Like, why does everything have to be about this? Can't you
It's
just
all
let us harass women in peace?
the 27% of people that didn't like it were like the ones who related to AJ. They were like,
Yeah,
I totally get what you mean, bro. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta be fucking persistent. Yeah. And so I was one of the people who went into this movie. I didn't watch the trailer this time, and I think I'm gonna start doing that. I knew, but even you know what's funny is though I did watch the trailer before we started recording, and the trailer does not reveal much.
It
No.
doesn't, because we were surprised when we went to the movies too,
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah,
in
no, like
theaters.
apparently there's a trailer that came out after the movie came out that reveals that Justin Long is in it. But like you have like unless you look at the cast on IMDb, there is no
Mhm.
way to know that Justin Long is in that movie. At least
Or
when
to know that
when we saw
that
it.
Bill Skarsgård is not the bad guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
No,
that,
yeah,
because it's kind of
It felt like it might have been like a torture, at least like off the trailer. Sorry.
oh, you're fine. No, I totally get what you're saying, and I think the only thing I know Bill Skarsgård from is it.
Mhm.
And so like I'm like, oh, obviously they cast him as like a fucking psychopath murderer. That's like clearly what's going to be happening, and that wasn't the case, which we will get into.
Who plays the woman?
She was played by Georgina Campbell. She plays Tess.
No,
So-
the tunnel woman.
Oh, that's a dude. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, it's some dude.
Is it Bill-
Matthew
Oh.
Patrick Davis.
It's probably the
I thought
Pan's
it was Bill
Labyrinth guy.
Skarsgård. I was like,
No.
maybe they just made him up. I meant to look it
No.
up, but I was like,
Yeah.
did
My
he
guess-
play two roles, which would have been neat?
My guess is it's probably like the same guy that's done like almost every single Guillermo del Toro thing. Like he's done like the Pan's Labyrinth movies, and he's
I'll start the walkthrough here then. So our story centers around our main character Tess, which is played by Georgina Campbell. She has a job interview, and she's staying at a Airbnb in this Detroit neighborhood called Brightmoor. She goes to this Airbnb and finds out that it's been double booked. There's this dude Keith, played by Skarsgård there, And right off the bat, you're kind of getting vibes of what you think the movie is going to do. And he's charming, but a little off and awkward. And so you're watching, you're waiting for something to happen. What ends up happening is they end up just splitting the room. Like there was a mistake. They got double booked on 2 different apps for the same place, and they're trying to call to figure out the situation, but nothing is being resolved. And so he's like, just sleep here. This is a bad neighborhood. Like, you don't want to be out there like looking for a fucking hotel. So she ends up staying there. He says he'll take the couch, she'll take the room. And he's kind of being like almost overly, doesn't seem like he's hitting
Well,
on her, but he's trying to make friends with her.
Yeah, he's very welcoming to like
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, like he's like saying like, no, like don't go out there. And there's a scene where she's like asking for his what do you call it, like the information, like proving that he did actually book this place.
The confirmation email
Yeah.
for booking it. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, let me go find my phone. And as she's in the bathroom, he goes and finds it. And this is a really cool scene where he comes up and he's like, okay, here's the number I've got. He only says the zip code, and then she kind of finishes it. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's the same number I got. So immediately I'm like, oh, that's bullshit. Like, he's lying. He doesn't even have that
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
And so they're leading you into believing like this dude is like a fucking psychopath, right? Well, she goes to sleep and shuts the door in this Airbnb, and in the middle of the night the door opens and you kind of hear like some footsteps outside, and she comes out, and Keith is sleeping on the couch, and he's kind of having like night terrors. He's like screaming. She wakes him up, scares the shit out of him, and is like, hey, like my door was open, I know I closed it. And he's like, I didn't fucking touch it. Like, he's kind of like pissed at her. And she just goes to bed. Now, before all this, they had started to get along. Like, she was really reserved at first, but like he kind of charmed his way into getting her to drink some wine and shit. He had mentioned that like, oh, if you see me open the wine, you're gonna know that like I didn't roofie it. You know what I mean? And like, I understand this is an awkward situation for you. He's trying to make her as comfortable as possible, but it wasn't working at first. But eventually, they have like a great time.
It does seem weird also though that they like both know the same like music artist, and he just happens
Mhm.
to be somebody.
He listens to jazz bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
It's like all
love
this
it,
kind
and
of
that
shit
seems
where
like-
you're like, oh, he's been stalking her. He knows all this information
Yeah.
and whatever and stuff. That's what you're thinking.
yeah.
Now, so the next morning, Tess goes to this interview that she's talking about. She has a nice interview. It's looking like it was a positive thing, and she tells the lady that she was interviewing with that where she's staying. She's like, oh, I'm staying in Brightmoor. And she thought she was kidding. She's like, what the fuck are you doing in Brightmoor? You shouldn't stay there. And she's like, oh, like I'm tough, like it's fine, like it's not that bad. Well, when she arrived there originally at night, she couldn't see the houses, but when she went back, every single house on that street that she was on was abandoned, and it was a complete shithole. The only house that was like still standing was the Airbnb that they're staying in. And she gets out and she goes to walk in the house, and a homeless man starts screaming at her, chasing her like down the street, and is like, don't go in that house, don't go in that house, or whatever. And she gets scared the fuck, and she goes in and slams the door. And he's knocking the door, being like, come out that house, come out that house. And I think at this point, like, I knew watching this, I'm like, that's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna come back as a good guy. Did anybody else like kind of get that feeling? Like there was a reason, like he was kind of trying to warn her.
It was subtle.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't really remember. It's been like,
I feel like my heart was racing. I feel like I thought that was just showing that it was not the safest
he
place.
was a dangerous.
That's
area.
kind of what I
Right.
got from it. Was he was just a crazy guy?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I think, dude, it's so weird watching movies now. Like, when you've seen so much shit happen in movies, you kind of look for
Right.
you almost are looking for like artistic directions to try to predict them instead of just watching the movie, and I feel like that's a disservice to the movie. So I really need to stop doing that personally.
I think you can get. I mean, with what we're doing, it's a lot different. You're kind of being like you're almost expecting to watch a lot of concurrent and like under the microscope viewings. So you're kind of like
Mhm.
trying to catch everything, which, like you said, it's kind of a disservice. But also, it's like, well, when else am I going to watch all these movies with more of a discerning eye? But
Right.
yeah, at this point in the movie, I have a lot of swelling, like because all I saw was like a poster for the movie, essentially before I played it. Um, and it was kind of like at this point is like, well, I'm trying to establish like, is the name Barbarian coming from like how like civilization breaks down where two people show up in like off of a social media app off the internet in the same place, and how like there's usually like ceremonies to prove like you're, even if you don't speak the same language, you're sharing food or you're sharing like comforts or creature comforts like a cigarette or something, like to establish like, oh, we both come in peace, we're just sharing a common space, like we're being civilized. Like, and
Right.
this showing up in this, like the way that all of these things are swirling together, like who's the enemy here, what kind of movie is this? Like I said, only seeing the poster, it's like, well, I don't know if this is like, oh, he's not to be trusted, or the house isn't to be trusted, or what's going on. But that's just one of those things that like you see this homeless man running, you're like, well, I was coming from a completely different direction to where, like, I think even coming off movies like Fresh, and like it's more like a relationship
Mhm.
horror, or like to where you're looking for like facial cues, or you looking for like more of a scene and setting, like to where you're getting so much input, and that's what this movie does so strongly in the first act, and that's
Yeah.
really enjoyable.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad that they went the direction they did with it, because it is one of those things where like you mentioned Fresh, the first act seemed like a rom-com, and like that's kind of like where they could have taken it with this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But obviously it doesn't end up being what you think it is. But anyway, so after the interview and she runs from the homeless man into the house, she is alone. Keith had, he said he had to step out or whatever, and he just asked her to leave the key in the lockbox for him. But she's inside and she's like going to take a shit and realizes there's no toilet paper. And and
Fuck
so
yeah.
she
Now you fucked up.
yeah. So she's looking all over the house for toilet paper, can't find anything, and she ends up going into the basement looking for it. It's a pretty creepy looking basement as is. And she goes down, finds it, and comes up and realizes that the door shuts by itself and locks by itself. And so she's stuck in the basement and has to basically wait for Keith to come home. But then she's like, fuck, I have the key as well. So, like, how the fuck? And her phone is also upstairs on the table. She's like, kind of like having all
And
these memories of like, fuck, I fucked up. Oh, God, I fucked up. You know what I mean?
she also didn't get to wipe.
Yeah, she
So
no, she still got to
it's kind
shit or piss or whatever that she had to do. So
Poopy butthole.
of, she's just the whole rest of the movie.
Don't forget your towel.
so she's
Or after
waiting.
The towel, Mr. Towel. You can-
She's exploring kind of around this basement, and behind like some knickknacks on this shelf, she finds this rope and pulls on it, and this secret passageway opens, and it's like completely pitch black, and she just says, nope, not fucking going in there, which I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I would be doing. But she
Then she
needs
does it anyway.
right. Well, she
Yeah,
figures
but
out.
she lights it up.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
she figures out a way to basically. There's a mirror down there, and she reflects the
Very
light
smart.
off the mirror down the hallway to kind of like. She's like, maybe she's thinking maybe this leads somewhere where I can get outside, right?
Get some
And
toilet paper.
Get
Yeah.
some light. Get some light up in there.
This is where he's got the toilet paper.
This must be where he's keeping it.
He looks in the puke bucket, or she looks in the puke bucket, and there
This
is
is-
some toilet paper. She's like, thank God.
Like a singularly wrapped Scott roll.
Roll credit.
There it is.
Unnamed toilet paper. We're not sponsored by Scott.
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I don't even does it even exist anymore.
So
Goes on to have a
What I-
normal day.
what I find
Thank
interesting,
God.
every poor decision that this girl makes, every doorway she walks through that she shouldn't walk through, there's this ominous music that's like kind of played in the background, and they show like the breaching of the doorway. That happens like 3 or 4 times in the film, and I think it's a really interesting touch. It's just like, oh, you fucked up. Oh, you fucked up. Like it's like every time she walks deeper into a corridor she should not be going down, that plays the same music.
Hmm.
But
I
she
love
goes
it. It
into
gets-
this.
It gets you like interacting with the movie, like in a way, like Jake said, it's like you need to be in the theater, almost being like, I almost want to scream at the screen.
Mhm.
Where,
Right.
but it's also like you don't do it, but in your mind you're like, oh man, bummer. I got it with the music. I
Yeah.
was following my cues.
And her actions make sense.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
they are bad actions. You know what I mean? Like it's like we know as a viewer, like don't fucking do
Yeah.
that, but we're also not living in a horror movie.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. I mean, she still is like the entire time she's taking precautions. Like
Yeah.
when like you forget, like when he goes to get the reservation, she takes out his wallet, screenshots his license.
Mhm.
You know,
Smart.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Smart girl.
She finds a room, she lights it up. Like when she gets later on in the movie, when she goes back down to the thing, she props the door open because she doesn't want the door to lock again.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like she does logical decisions.
She
the
tied
entire
up her
time.
horse.
Yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
exactly. But so
I
she
feel like
walks.
I've made much worse decisions in an Airbnb. Like when we stayed in that place in Chattanooga, I tried to get in that locked room, and then I tried to like open the window through the balcony to see inside of it.
That was a
Like,
fucked up
I'm trying-
Airbnb, though.
That was a terrible.
Bad
I
horror
have
instincts.
booked us some really sketchy Airbnbs. The one I think in Montreal, the guy was still living there. So
I've never stayed in
am
one, and
never stayed
It's
in an
fun.
Airbnb.
no, I
It's
haven't.
fun. It's like
It's
being in
interesting.
someone's house.
Yeah.
I'm so nosy. I love to
It reminds
know
me of
what-
being like a cleaner, like I've mentioned before on this, like cleaning people's like houses or cleaning up their yards or something, doing work in their house is always like
sleeping in their beds as a
Look,
cleaner.
wearing their
Looking through
clothes.
their medicine cabinet.
in, I don't know, whatever.
Opening
Stealing their
doors in their
shit, selling
basement,
it on the black market.
walking through tunnels and tunnels and tunnels.
Did any of you guys have like a relative that would like look through your shit when they were at your house?
I'm the relative.
Me, I'm that. Yeah.
No, but
We
Ian's
had-
relative looked through shit at my house.
Yeah, I have relatives that looked at other people's houses.
Yeah, like our
Really?
we had an uncle that would look through like our medicine cabinets and shit.
That's
like,
so
whenever
fucking
he was
weird.
over.
That's whack.
Yeah, like that's what like my mom eventually got to a point where she would let me and my brother like booby trap the medicine cabinets when
Oh,
we
yeah.
knew they were coming over. So we put like marbles in there, and he opened up, you just hear the marbles crash, and you're like,
Fuck.
That's awesome.
yep.
I mean, I know you used to give me shit because like when I was younger, I was like a room rummager. Like I used to go through like everything on your like desk and stuff like that, like pick up like your shark, your embryo
knickknack.
shark or whatever, and all that stuff, whatever. But I think you
Mhm.
probably were more annoyed by that because what I would do is anything cool I found, I would tell you how cool it was, and I would be like, I wish I had one.
Wish I had one of those. Cool, really cool. If I had all these
That
knickknacks,
Spider-Man action figure.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
but anyways,
People's bookshelves and books are usually they're like if you're in their space, if you're not considered a barbarian and you come into someone's space, you can read what books they have and say, "Oh yeah, I've read that book." That's
Yeah.
It's like you're in their space
welcome
anyway.
people
It's
going through
almost
my
like they want you
Yeah.
to see
Right.
their
I
pop
have nothing to hide.
Funko
mean-
Pops and
Yeah.
And
matchbooks
And in
from
this-
random bars.
In this movie, every single person that stays at this Airbnb is a barbarian because they're on Barbary Street, so
Mhm.
they're
Mm.
barbarian.
That's
Mhm,
true. That's
mhm.
true. So
Mhm.
in this basement, she, when she opens up this secret door, she lights it up and ends up walking through. She finds a door to the left that when she opens it up, there's just this fucking nasty ass dirty mattress. there is a camera looking on it, and there is like a shit bucket in the corner of the room, and then a bloody handprint on the wall. So obviously some fucking weird shit's going on here. She freaks out, and then she runs out, and Keith ends up coming home. She's like knocking on the window. They open the window. She gives him the key, and she's like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here. I don't want to be here." And this is where you really start to be like, this dude's a fucking psychopath, because he is
Yeah.
trying so hard to convince her to stay. He's like, "Well, I haven't seen it yet, so let me go fucking look at it. You stay up here or whatever." And like, she's like, "No, I'm fucking leaving." And he's like, "No, will you just stop? Like, fucking stay." And it's like kind of like aggressive the way he's being, and you're like, all right, like, so this is where we're going. Like, it's kind of, it feels predictable, right? Well, he convinces her to stay because he's like, well, I don't want to get locked in the basement like you did, so let me go check it out. You just wait here, then whatever. He goes down and stops answering her, and her being the good person that she is like, fuck, like, I don't want to like leave this guy to die. Some fucking weird shit's going on. So she goes down this corridor again. He's not in that room. He's not in the room with the bed and shit. And she bumps into another wall that kind of has another door that opens. And as she opens it up, it's a basement under another basement. It's a fucking
I'd
tunnel.
leave, man. I would
It-
not go down after that guy.
well, it's a tunnel that goes down, and then she's like Keith, and like he's like, help, help. He's like screaming like something is fucked up down there. She goes down, and he finds her. First she's like walking through. She's seeing some fucked up shit. Like there's like weird gates and cages and whatnot. And she finds him. He's like crawling on the ground. He's injured. He's saying like there's somebody else in here. And she's like, okay, well, let's fucking go. She tries to grab him, and he starts trying to pull her deeper into the cave. He's like, no, 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 like that's where it is. Like we have to go this way. We have to go this way. He's pulling at her, and so yeah, again, it's just it's leading you to believe like Keith's a fuckhead, Keith's a murderer, whatever, all this shit. But then, out of the darkness, this fucking scary ass naked woman runs out screaming, grabs Keith's head and starts just slamming his head fucking against the wall, crushing it, and kills him. And you're just like, what the fuck? And then the screen goes black, and the movie completely changes pace. And we see our next character, AJ Gilbride, played by Justin Long, just driving in a convertible, singing.
Ricky
And
Tikki Tavi.
yeah, and he's you know, you can tell like he's like this like rich spoiled white dude. He gets a call of some agents informing him that there's some allegations against him, and that he's being pulled from whatever movie project that he was on. She's accusing him of rape, right? And so it kind of fast forwards like two weeks. He needs money. He needs money for lawyers. There's like a civil suit, and all this shit. And he's talking to a financial advisor who's basically telling him like, with your current spending habits and with all these fees or whatever, you're going to be out of money in 3 months. And so he needs money, and the only thing he has is like these properties, right? And one of the properties he owns is this Airbnb. So he flies to Detroit to try to liquidate, and goes into this house. He knows somebody's still there because he sees like all the luggage, he sees the toothbrush, he's seeing all this shit. He ends up going into the basement and pulling on that same rope, opening it up. And it's funny. This was actually not one. This was my favorite scene in the movie. So he opens up this corridor. He walks down. He sees the fucked up room with the camera and the bed and the bucket, and he's like, "Holy shit!" And you think like the obvious thing you should be thinking is like, "This is some fucked up shit." But the next thing we see is him Google searching, "Can you count underground rooms as part of your square footage for your home you're trying to sell?" That
And
shit.
it doesn't even say yes. It's like Maybe.
Yeah,
Or the
it-
extra square footage.
it's like typically isn't counted. He's like, okay, typically, all right. So like, when can it count? Whatever. And like, it was he reads like it's like it can be mentioned in the listing. And he's like, all right, like yeah. So he takes a tape measure and he starts measuring all the extra square footage. He ends up bumping into that same wall that leads to the deeper cave. And he's like, no fucking way.
He's like the embodiment of white privilege walking through.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He's just like, score, dude. I found
I'm
all
not
this extra
I'm not scared of any of this.
Is
yeah.
the deeper
Do you
meaning
know
of this
my father? Do you
gentrification?
know who my dad is?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so.
Well, would you ask Emily? Is the deeper meaning what?
Gentrification?
Oh yeah.
Gentrifying tunnels of death?
I think I think I got a deeper meaning from it, but we'll get to it later.
Yeah.
So he's going down this shit, and all he's got is the flashlight. Or no, I think it's his phone light that he's using when he's doing this
Yeah.
at the time. Oh no, he
No,
does have the flashlight
He
because
has one out of
so
it-
I'm
out of
sorry.
the drawer.
He grabbed the flashlight and the
Yeah.
knife earlier because he thought somebody was down there.
Yeah.
But then that said when he found the extra square footage, he completely forgot about somebody else being there. So he's got the flashlight.
Yeah, him
He's pulling
getting
it
those
back.
supplies earlier was pretty comical too. The way, like his confidence and being like tough guy, like I don't make me come down there. I'll let you
Yeah,
leave.
I have a gun. And I'll shoot you.
After
so he
seeing
ends up-
what's going on at this house, you're like, it's just the contrast of those things and like the obliviousness, I don't know how to say that word,
Mhm.
obliviousness.
Yeah, it's obliviousness.
Yeah,
I think that's it. Sure.
something like that.
right.
Yeah, I think
So AJ starts. He's down there in the this creature, this woman, the mother they call her. She confronts him and he like runs from her and ends up falling in a hole, and then like a gate slams on top of it. And Tess is down there, and like she's like telling him like to shut the fuck up and stop freaking out, because she has been here for 2 weeks. And this crazy woman just lowers down like a bottle for him to feed on it, and he's like refusing to, and she's like, fucking drink it, like it just wants to be our mother, like fucking like play along, whatever. And he won't do it, so she lets him have some, or she gives it to Tess drinks some, tries to give it back to AJ, he's still saying no, so she comes down, and AJ fucking runs, and fucking Tess climbs out, right? Well, before that, actually, it does the flashback to the 1980s, right?
Mhm.
And same house, but the neighborhood is great. It's a classic, super green lawn. Everybody's got a fucking nice house, nice mowed lawn. And you see this
Mhm.
old man named Frank walking out, and he goes to the supermarket, goes to pick up some baby shit, and on his way back he's like sees like this woman, he stalks her, and so you can tell like this is like a fucking bad dude, right? Like this is obviously a creepy dude.
He wants
He does want sex. He comes back and is talking to his neighbor about his neighbor saying like, oh hey, like we're moving, and he's like, well, I'm not going anywhere. And his neighbor's like, well, this town's going to shit, which it was such a fucking nice looking fucking neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he's like, the neighborhood's going to shit, which it did eventually. But the
Those are the
implication
finance
here,
bros you want to listen to, that say it's going to shit and then it does.
right? So the implication here is that
Like
like
Black
Frank's
Bloc.
a fucking weirdo. He's kidnapping and raping women. And we don't know for what yet. It reveals it later. But anyways, it flashes back to the present. And Tess escapes as the mother is distracted. And she like gets outside. I think she crawls through the window of the basement because the basement door is locked, and she's trying to crawl through the window. She gets through, and that homeless man ends up helping her out. and the one that was telling her earlier to be like, don't go in that fucking house, right? And so she's saying we got to go back in and save this guy, and he's like, there's no fucking saving him. Like she's gonna fucking kill him. So she's got this confliction. You can tell she's a good person because she should just fucking run. She should just fucking leave, but like she can't just leave somebody to die. The homeless man tells her where he's staying is by this water tower. That's important later. But then we cut back to AJ, and AJ ends up in this room. It's a weird, like, fucking really cramped like room. There's like a TV on in the corner, and he meets Frank, the old man who was, you know, kidnapping women and raping them. He's on his deathbed, obviously. And there was all these like VHS tapes that were like lined up around the room. And Jake, do you have those pulled up? What some of those tapes were?
I mean, yeah, they're on the Google Doc too. But some of them that are on the shelf, it went through like it kind of just panned through the tapes, and some of them side by side were kind of funny. One was Liquor Store, Lacey, Hannah H, Kelly, Junkie, No Teeth, Redhead Homeless, Bad Nosebleeder, Chelsea.
Bad Nosebleeder would have been a great one for the intro. What's up, you bad
They
nosebleeders?
kind of remind me of like band names.
Right.
Ruth L. Won't Stop Crying.
That was good.
Cab Driver. It would have been funnier if it was Uber Driver, but that wouldn't have been for the 80s.
Right.
Sarah M, Stephanie, Melissa, Irish Accent,
Oh my God.
Hitchhiker, Pregnant, Very Old, Asian Biter. I'm surprised there isn't just another old, just old and very old. Brenda, Ruby, Dr. Red, One Breast, so Survivor, and Face Scar.
Amazing. That's so
A lot of
he's-
rapes.
Right. And so Justin Long's character AJ is kind of at first he's like looks at this old man and thinks that he's a victim. He's like, oh, like we're gonna get out of here, like we're gonna make this bitch pay for what she's done.
Oh, I
Then he
thought we were
pops in.
I thought we were past that with the videotapes. We jumped too early into the videotapes.
I know, I did. Well, so he plays one of these videotapes, right?
Afterward,
And,
but not before he like pours him water.
Oh, true.
Like you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that afterward.
And he
Yeah.
pulls his side table over close to him.
I mean, I don't think
Yes,
I
exactly.
didn't see the videotape.
But anyway, so he plays that one of the videotapes, and it doesn't show it, but what's implied is that he's videotaping him raping and killing these girls, right?
Yeah.
And so
Or
he's
forcing
how
them to give birth or whatever. I mean,
so this is the start of a really interesting character moment, because this is an alleged rapist, AJ, watching these films, whatever, and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how the fuck could you do this, whatever? And right when he says that, like, he's like, I'm gonna have the cops here, I'm gonna fucking, like, you're gonna pay for what you've done. The old man Frank pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the head.
I shall offer him sexual favors. Sexual favors, but he's just a boy.
that was him having sex with the kids and having sex with their kids, having sex with other kids.
Now you fucked up.
So Tess had found some police outside. She had kind of wandered off, found some police, and brought them back to the house, and they're dismissing her the entire time. They think that she's just some crazy drunk lady because she looks like she's all dirty and fucked up looking. But she's trying to explain to them, like, I've been held captive for 2 weeks. Like, there's this crazy lady, someone else is gonna die. They do not give a shit.
Mother's milk in the tunnels.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have
Like-
been too.
These cops absolutely do not give a shit. They get to the house and she's like, kick down the door. And they're like, no, like, we don't, this isn't your house. This isn't our house. Like, get the fuck out and stop doing that. And then there's like a call about like there's like a shooting in like another area, and they're like, we gotta fucking go. So the cops fucking leave, right? And so Tess breaks into the house with she breaks the window, goes in, gets her car keys. She's out in her car, and as it gets dark, the mother, who has like a sensitivity to sunlight, it seemed like earlier, because as she was chasing her out of the basement window, she like couldn't go any further when she got into the light. So she comes out at night, and the mother comes out, and Tess just crashes into the house, pinning the mother, and the mother seemingly like dies, is what it looks like. And so she returns to the basement to rescue AJ. But as she's kind of walking through the tunnel, you just see like this light. And as soon as she says something, AJ shoots her in the stomach, thinking that like she's like, you know, the woman or something. And he comes over, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." He helps her out. They get out. Tess is bleeding. She's fucking shot. They escape the house and find that the mother is no longer on the vehicle. So Tess and AJ make their way to the water tower where the homeless man Andre was living. Now, Andre explains the whole situation. He's basically like, "Hey, like this old fucking dude down there, Frank, has been kidnapping and raping girls. Their babies were born, and then he would have babies with those babies, and then those babies would have more babies and have babies." So basically, we find out that this mother, this crazy woman, this naked fucking demon lady, is an
Is
incest baby.
inbred.
Yes.
Inbred. Yeah. Go to Appalachia. Hang out with the Appalachian inbred people.
West Virginia.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the character arc that I was talking about here, which I thought at first was a really risky move to have a redemption arc for a rapist. Because basically Andre is explaining like they need to wait to move until morning, and that Tess is gonna make it through the night after being shot, and like he's like kind of like half crying, like AJ's like saying like, "No, I gotta fix this," and he starts talking about like, you clearly like it's a parallel to like the thing he did to the woman that he allegedly raped, right? He's like saying like, "I did this, like whether or not I meant to, I hurt somebody, and that's all that matters. Like I can't change what I've done. Like maybe I'm a bad person, but I don't want to be a bad person, and the only thing I can do is try to fix it." Right? And it seems like they're going for like a redemption arc for a rapist, and which I thought at like when I first like was watching this, I was just like, like I don't know how I feel about this. Feels like a weird road to go down.
Or how
Because
well it's intriguing, because it's like, well, if they try that, how well are they going to pull that off?
Exactly, because the thing is, like, the things he's saying is everything that you want.
I mean, even if it's
Somebody
just
who's it's everything you want somebody who has done something like that to think and feel, but you don't want to hear about it.
no,
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like, yeah, like have your sorrow, have your epiphany, but like I don't want to hear about what you're like. Do it on your own.
no, yeah.
Like,
I'm scrolling right past that post.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to read that.
That's if it felt like a Facebook post of somebody being like, "I hurt
Ooh.
somebody. I am just trying to make it right," or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
so I was
I'm
like, "This is
closing
weird,"
that window.
but they fixed it. I
Yeah.
love how they did it. So the mother bursts into this hideout and attacks Andre, fucking rips off his arm, beats him to death with it as the two run away.
She
And-
comes into the scene like the Kool-Aid
Kool-
man. It's awesome.
Yes, exactly.
You're underselling it.
Yeah,
They
it
were-
reminded
yeah,
me of
they
like
were-
Scott Pilgrim or the Kool-Aid Man, or
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
just talking about how like Andre's like, "I've lived here for fucking years. She's never gotten here," and then she just breaks the fuck in.
Yeah.
And so AJ and Tess are running.
symbolic.
They make their way up the water tower that they're right by. Fucking AJ's leaving Tess in the dust. She's like, "Wait for me," and he's like, "Come on!" And like they're fucking going up there. They're at the top, and She's on her way up. He's got the gun. He goes to point it at her, fucking drops it like a fucking idiot. And he has an epiphany and he's like, she's only after you. Like, I can get away. I can get away. And he's like, I'm sorry. And he grabs her hair and fucking throws Tess off the water tower. And the mother dives after Tess. The next thing you see is AJ looking off the side of the water tower and just sees the two bodies. The mother is on the bottom and Tess is on top of her. And so he goes down there, he grabs the gun on his way down and walks up to the two bodies and realizes Tess is still alive. And he immediately starts trying to rationalize what he just did. Like, he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, you have to understand, like it was the only thing I could do to survive. Like, I'm so glad you're okay. Like, you're fine. You're fine. Let's go. So now he's trying to play the hero again.
I think that my favorite. I think he says, I think I'm. Or I forget what he says exactly, but I think it's I'm helping you now. Like,
yeah, like I'm helping you. I'm helping you. Like we're good. We're good.
it's like a little. It's like you just knock your little brother over and just like
yeah. You're like, you're fine. You're fine. Don't tell mom. Don't tell mom. Don't tell mom.
Yeah.
And so he grabs Tess, and the mother wakes up, grabs AJ by the throat, and then pushes her thumbs into his eyes and then rips his fucking skull apart. Super satisfying. So I love that they throughout the whole thing they did the tease of like being like, oh, like a redemption arc for a rapist. And then you realize like, nope, he's still a piece of shit. He's been the piece of shit the whole time. And then he dies.
Yeah.
And so the mother is kind of like caressing Tess and is like, Baba, like whatever, like calling her a baby. I feel really bad for her, honestly.
It looks so much like Skarsgård to me. There's scenes when
was it?
Yeah, I was just like, oh, is that? Did they dress him up because they're like, you're comfortable in costume, like you're gonna wear like you do good physical acting. So I was like, oh, maybe they just like for a scene there, and it
No, they just took a dude from a fucking Nickelodeon show.
All right.
But yeah, so he's she's on top of her and like she's kind of like she understands Tess is injured, she feels bad, and like she's like, we got to go back to the house. And Tess seems like she kind of feels bad about this, but she pulls the gun up to the mother's face and shoots her. Screen goes black, and then we just see Tess limping away as the sun rises, and that's the end of the movie.
Yep.
So I thought it was great. And I know the third act it was pretty sudden the way everything kind of ended, but I really enjoyed the movie. I liked, so I think like we were talking about earlier, like with like the messages and stuff. I kind of think the message that I took from it was that just like scumbags don't get redemption, even if you feel it. Like it's like the shit you've done, you might be able to find redemption and forgive yourself, but you don't deserve forgiveness from anybody else. You know what I mean? But everybody can take something different from it. Jake, what were you saying was like kind of the allegories that you were thinking?
Well, the allegory I took was just that it's just, I think this is horror movies answered, or not answered, but like kind of commentary on the Me Too movement, because as you watch the movie, you see her navigate talking to Skarsgård, and she's defensive the entire time. And you know, obviously, you end up finding out that he's a genuinely good dude, but she's on guard the entire time,
right?
And then you've got these, and you know, they kind of completes the spectrum where you've got a Justin Long character where he's like a shitty dude, but he's not necessarily a complete monster like
Frank.
Frank, the guy that owns it. So I think it's just basically her navigating the spectrum of, you know, or how women have to navigate around men in this society where, you know, some guys look like wolves in sheep's clothing, some men are just straight up wolves, and some men are some other men are kind of become innocent bystanders of that
Like getting
issue.
lumped in. They get lumped in
Being
because,
lumped
like,
in, yeah.
yes, and
Where you
actually,
could be a
that's
good dude
interesting.
and yeah.
It does show those three spectrums. I actually just put that together that you said that is that like you have like Skarsgård, that's like the genuine good guy. You have the middle one of like he's a piece of shit, but kind of in the shadows piece of shit. Like he doesn't, he's not
Yeah, sneaky.
outrightly going to kidnap and cage and rape and kill women, but he had that conversation, which was such a realistic conversation when he went to the bar with his friend, and his friend's like, dude, you gotta tell me what happened. Like, I gotta hear it from you. And like, he's like, oh, I'll be real with you, dude. Like, we fucked, like we did, and like she said no at first, but like, she just took some convincing, and like, she was into it at the end. And it's like, okay, like I could totally see a fucking asshole saying this shit.
Oh yeah.
And like you're like, so you see who he is, but like he's not a serial rapist. He's just a fucked up. He has a fucked up sense of boundaries and respect for women.
Yeah.
Whatever she wants it. Whatever, you want it.
Mwah. I've been saving that for us to finally talk about consent.
Oh my god. So yeah, and then he's like you said, the wolf is the wolf of Frank. Like he's clearly the fucked up one. So navigating through that, she has the conversation with Skarsgård about how it's easier to navigate through life because if it was him coming to the door, he would have come in and not had a fucking problem with it.
Yeah.
But she had to worry about it,
Mm-hmm.
So
and I guess one of the main reasons I kind of came up with this was my friend Kirk saw the movie, and I was like, did you like it? And he's like, I don't even know why Justin Long was even in it. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, that part just seemed pointless. And I was like, I don't know. I think that was the point.
Might be the
and
problem.
then I explained it. And he's like, that's dumb. And I was like, oh, I guess so. But I was like, I still think that's what they were trying to do.
He's like, sometimes they do need convincing. What?
It's like, you know what this movie is about to me?
She wants it. Whatever, you want it.
Oh.
All right. So I guess that's the movie.
Yeah.
Right. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add?
I mean, we could go off on a giant gentrification tangent.
Yeah.
But let's let the audience do that. Hit us up about what you think about this movie says about all that stuff.
The movie definitely has shit to say
it.
about gentrification, but like as far as horror movies talking about gentrification is like Candyman's all about gentrification.
I don't know if that's any sort of like a topic of the movie. I think that's just a funny
it's just
plot.
if it's going to be in Detroit, it's got you have to talk about.
It's good setting.
It's a setting.
It's really good setting.
Yeah.
And we'll readdress it when we do Candyman. And also, if everyone wants to argue about it in the comments, let's do that.
Yeah, do it.
You know what I find super interesting is that like comedians, when they make horror movies, it's such like it's almost like they're like, I don't know how to say my real thoughts, the problems I have with society in comedy, so I have to say it through horror.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so we have and then the dude who did like Nope and Jordan Peele. Yeah, it's like comedians when they switch over to doing like horror, there's always a message behind what they're saying.
I mean, I think. Sorry, Jake, you want to go?
Yeah, well, I think especially if you listen to interviews from like especially Jordan Peele, he just talks about how the difference between horror and comedy is like the thinnest line.
Oh, not much.
Yeah, because South Park, right? Like South Park,
it's more pain.
It's all tension and release.
South Park has so like it's obviously comedy, but there's messages through it out. Like I've always said, like South Park is like a borderline like social education show because of the mirror it holds up to society.
Sesame Street for like 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And it's all like exaggeration of what you're observing is going on. Like you can exaggerate it and make it funnier, or exaggerate it and make it more horrifying.
Hyper reality.
Mhm.
We talked
Yeah.
about it in funny games.
Right?
And
Did
then
it
all
really
the
happen?
all the
if
other
it was on
ones.
screen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
The rapes might
Alright.
have. So I'm just saying, watch out. There's
It says that at the end of this movie, there were like all the rapes were actually real. In this movie.
non-simulated rapes.
You're like, there wasn't any rapes. They're like, yeah, but it was that.
They're
All the
happening.
credits list
So
on
watch
the
out.
videotapes.
Check your friends.
Actually.
Make sure your friends are all safe.
Moment of silence for Lacey,
Trevor Moore.
no teeth, redhead homeless, bad nosebleeder.
Trevor Moore is on one of the videotapes. That'd be
Trevor-
spooky. That might have been before he
Trevor
died.
Moore. Yeah, this movie. Yeah, I think this movie came. I don't remember.
All respect.
Okay. Either way, I guess now we'll get into our game.
Let's do it.
What?
What?
Jake? Oh, I thought Jake was about to say something.
He said, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
Open your fucking ears.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
sorry. All right. So, what order do you guys want to go in? Yeah.
Let's just make it youngest to oldest. Make it simple.
Mhm.
Okay. So Emily,
That's me.
Ian, Ryan, Jake. Okay. All right. So the game of the week is red flag, green flag. We can do this one of two ways. I've created 8 scenarios. We can go around to all of you about, because it might go fast, and then have you all cast whether or not it's a red flag, green flag to you, or I can pose one each to you individually twice.
I think we should all say, I'll say our piece on it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
Yes.
Also, because we're doing pretty good on time right now. That was a really quick walkthrough. So
It's because you
Forgetting
fucking
about her.
breezed over Justin Long sucking on that lady's titty. Now we're gonna play red flag, green flag. So let's start with scenario 1. Scenario 1. You meet a charismatic and charming man in the produce section of the grocery store. As he begins to shill these GMO'd grapes to you, you decide to give him your number. Later on, you find out that this man has no social media to speak of. Red flag or green flag? So, Emily.
That's a green flag. So he's not liking other bitches' posts.
Okay, so this is an interesting one because I can understand how it could be perceived as a red flag. However, I don't use social media that much. Like I have them all.
But you have it though.
Yes, but like
think-
I also could not.
I think
what I mean? Like, and
balanced people do, for the most part.
yeah, but like I could also like I've heard of people being like, I'm taking a break from
Wait,
social
you jumped
media.
over Ian, Ryan. You jumped over Ian.
Oh,
didn't
you're
know.
right. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
We're-
okay.
We're
Okay.
doing a
Fuck.
I had forgotten we had set the
I
order.
now
Okay.
understand how this is working.
My bad.
He was
I'm
just so
gonna-
excited to say he's taking a break from social media.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
cut
That's-
all of what I just said, and Ian, you just start. I'll just start. you.
Leave it in.
Okay, so I thought this was just Emily, so I wasn't really thinking that much about it. Yeah, so I mean, but like, what if like he like cuts people apart and sells their meat? That's
I mean, if you
no,
if-
yeah.
He's
if you
gonna
met
need an Instagram. If he wants to make a decent dollar.
How is he supposed to have a nice service?
Yeah. I don't know. I
Get new
mean,
clientele.
in this
flag.
day and age, like most people have social media, or at least have it. So
It's a
you
red
know,
flag.
it's. I mean, I would say it's more of a red flag than a not at this point.
Alright.
Unless they have like an excuse, like I don't know, if they have an excuse in
You
not
mean a
having it.
secret?
Sure, yeah.
All right, Ryan, is this a red flag, green flag?
Okay. I'm gonna say green flag if he says he's taking a break from social media. Red flag if he says he's never had social media ever.
Mhm,
You know what I
mhm.
mean? So it would be very specific. Like I would be like, why don't you have social media?
Yeah, that's what
And
I'm
if
saying.
he's like, oh, I've just never had it, I would be like, okay, red flag.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a green flag answer, Ryan.
All right. Jake, red flag, green flag.
Fuck. I think it's obviously excuse based. I probably wouldn't even pry that deeply, and I'd just call it a red flag.
Yeah, just move on.
I'm
Move
gonna
on to
go
the
with
next
my
person.
gut intuition to say that like if you
You'd
have
be like-
no social media this day and age,
Yeah.
I'm immediately like pulling something to be like, well, at least it seems like something you'd explain right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck your
Even-
grapes.
Yeah.
Even Jake has social media, even if he won't let anybody follow
Oh
him.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a reason to be on there, and I pick and choose the way I use it. But to not be on there,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, if there was a follow, I'd be like, you'll probably be unfollow in like a day. You'll be like, it's lonely here. You know, so it's like,
I think I
you
might just have bad
bend
instincts,
the social media to you, but to not have it is like, I don't know, to not find utility in something that like I don't know, such a large population is using. It's a red flag.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Yeah, I
many
agree.
funny videos on Instagram, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Instagram is literally the TikTok filter. If funny videos make it over to Instagram, they're funny.
And
TikTok, you got to sift through all the shit.
I'd instantly.
I'm not
wanna
trying to
ask
watch
him, like,
videos on Instagram that I saw on TikTok
Uh,
4 months ago.
yeah, that's the problem. Is like you get like I've gotten different ones from Ryan that are like TikToks I've seen forever ago, and I was like, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay,
So,
but
that's what I'm saying.
stop
sometimes when it
using
gets
fucking
aggregated.
TikTok.
Yeah, I don't use
Let it-
TikTok.
Why
let
is
the-
it my problem? Why
let
is it not your
Let
problem?
the
this
good
guy
ones
is-
come to you.
Yeah. And this
Why-
guy is
why-
too young.
I
for
can
me.
wait. I have patience. I have patience, and I can wait for the funny videos to come to me.
It's not the good ones, it's the
Yeah, but
millennial ones.
no one's gonna even like them because
It's true.
they've seen them.
Again.
So
I
you're not
like
gonna
'em.
get that-
There's
You're not
fucking
gonna-
there's dudes like me out there who are like, fuck TikTok. I'll just let the good shit come to me.
I think
It's all
No,
Same.
I would never.
This
I
is a
would never
millennial
recommend
red
TikTok
flag.
to anyone because I can't get off it. So
I'm with Ryan
It's a
on this
problem.
one.
I barely use it.
It's a millennial.
Thank
red
you,
flag.
Ian. Thank you, Ian.
I got you,
You
man.
do the same thing I do. You just
Oh,
let
yeah.
the shit come to you.
I
you
can't-
Let, you let the funny shit come right in your lap.
I don't have the time to absorb TikTok as well.
Oh, fuck it.
Like Instagram is. I
That's-
barely
yeah,
want to be on
that's a good
Instagram.
choice.
I barely touch Instagram. I'm like if like at least as far as like
Reels.
yeah, I don't like go through other I don't know. I don't follow any like meme accounts or anything like that. So I don't use Instagram for that whatsoever. So we just different people as far as social medias.
You're just doing it
All right.
wrong.
It's a tool we all use.
Scenario
We all use differently.
Scenario 2. You wake up bound to a chair, finding yourself in a house, sitting at a table with a strange young teenage girl, her father, and a lobotomized girl they call Bright Eyes. The girl's father has turned his house into a school dance for his daughter's dreams, and you are to be her date. Red flag or green flag?
What the fuck?
I'm honored that I've been asked to the dance. That's a green flag.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Can
Thank you so much.
can you
Ian.
can you repeat that?
Yes. Okay.
Could you use it in a
I mean-
sentence?
Yeah, can you?
You wake up bound to a chair in a house, sitting at a table with a strange young girl, her father, and a lobotomized woman they call Bright Eyes. The girl's father has turned his house into the school dance of his daughter's dreams, and you are to be her date. Red flag or green flag?
I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I would definitely say red flag because like, what the fuck's going on here? But you know,
okay.
yeah. But like, if she needs someone to go to like prom with or something, I'll like we can dance or something. If you want,
Yeah.
real quick.
It's like you could have just asked.
Like, I just feel bad at that point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my god.
you feel
Red-
you're tied to the chair, but you still feel.
Oh
bad.
yeah, I forgot I was tied to the chair.
Yeah.
Red flags.
Red flags.
Red
All
flag.
right, Ryan. What are you saying?
When you say young girl, how young are we talking?
She's the same
green
age as
flag
you.
answer
She is-
again.
She is. She is
Bravo.
prom
Set
date
the bar high
age.
for men.
Prom date age.
Yes, and so are you.
Oh,
In
so
this
I'm
scenario.
also young.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm about to say this is not red flag, this is red dot. And
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is-
want nothing to do with that.
No. This is based off of a movie, so it's
Oh,
that,
yeah,
is
no,
that an
I-
arranged marriage joke?
The red dot? No.
Oh no!
Just getting away from race? Nah.
Not this episode. You won't let it get away.
You meant a
No.
pedophile.
I mean,
okay,
that is
yeah,
so fucking
sorry.
funny. That is
Yeah, and
so
you're gonna have-
fucking funny. I am not cutting that. Fuck that. That's too funny. If you want me to cut it, I'll cut it. We'll talk about it later.
We'll see. We'll talk about it.
All right, did
We'll
you
talk
say
about it
red flag or
after
green flag?
Dude, I mean, I'm not gonna try to be funny. That's obviously a fucking red flag. Like, if
Oh,
I'm tied
yeah.
up to a chair.
Nothing wrong with that. Some of these are obvious red flags. So like, if it's an obvious red flag, just say red flag.
Mhm.
Seen a red.
Yeah, Emily hasn't seen one.
I might be in trouble.
Oh, me
Jake
neither.
didn't answer.
Yeah, Jake, red flag, green flag.
Oh, I'm honored. You know, hey, I'm on the dance floor. Let's do this. Let's see where this goes.
Sure.
I don't have a social
can you-
media. Don't follow me. Especially not into
but
that,
do
not
follow
into that
us.
guy's house.
Do follow us at Horrorphobia Pod on Twitter, Horrorphobia Podcast at Instagram, and Horrorphobia colon a spooky movie podcast at Facebook. Thank you.
Green flag.
Next here we have social.
All right. Well, if anyone's interested in a movie with that setting, watch The Loved Ones, the Australian 2009 film, The Loved Ones.
So fucking good.
Scenario 3. You find out that your newlywed wife does not know what a hamper is, and as a consequence of that, you end up finding loose socks stuffed in between the cushions of your living room furniture.
Okay, is this
Red
a
flag,
movie or is this your wife?
Yeah.
wife.
That's
Emily.
a red flag. I'd never marry that bitch. She's the fucking worst. I'm so
Oh my
I didn't mean- I didn't come on here to be shamed.
That's funny.
Some diversity. You have to
Sorry.
talk about our marriage like that.
All right, Ian, is that a red flag? flag?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, so yeah, maybe she grew up in a country where they don't have hampers or something. And I just I'm like, hey,
Just
have you ever heard of
Pennsylvania?
Yeah. And I would show her what a hamper is, and maybe, it'd be fine.
Dude, I bought her 2 hampers. She has 2 hampers.
Yeah, I think I have more. for
She
sure.
has 2 hampers, at least.
uh,
Still find socks.
We
in-
call
in-
it something
in the
different in
Yeah.
Southwest Pennsylvania.
Sometimes your feet are hot, and then all of a sudden they're cold, and then they're hot again. So you have to take your
Oh,
socks
yeah.
off right where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right. So
Uh,
Ryan or Ian saying
I'll say green flag, or like that's fine, whatever. That's
Yeah,
worse.
okay.
There's
Thanks.
worse things that could happen.
there could be worse.
Thank you.
Ryan, what are you saying? Red flag.
I
green
have
flag?
dealt with worse.
Oh yeah.
So,
sure.
that's not that bad. I mean, I can understand how that could be annoying, but that honestly seems like something. It's not something specific I would do, but I've done things like that.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna say as long as everything else checks out, green flag.
Yeah, I was like, what are you laughing at? I wouldn't marry Ryan either. Like, fuck you talking about? Like,
God no.
if someone was like, "Do
Who
you
would-
want to
who
marry
would
your friend
make
Ryan?"
that
I'd be like,
fucking
"No,
mistake?
not at all, not at all."
Nice.
All right, Jake. Red flag, green flag.
If they're not lost in the couch, they're gonna get lost in the laundry. Lose them in the couch. Green flag.
Hell yeah,
Green flag.
dude.
Like Ryan said,
Everybody-
if everything else checks out, hey,
Yeah.
it's a picadillo.
Hey, man,
There we go.
I married her, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about anyone specific.
Nope.
All right. Scenario 4. You're backpacking through Europe with a friend when a stranger tells you of a Slavic hostel where everyone there is a sexy European woman who loves touching American penis. After a night of drinking and partying with these Slavic sluts, you wake up and discover that your 2 friends are missing. Red flag or green flag?
Hmm.
Do I still get to hang out with the?
Yeah,
The
but they're
lady?
gaslighting you the entire time.
Well, we don't know that
Right.
though.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
Well,
I
that's
don't
an
know
argument
anything
to
about
make. Do people getting gaslit know they're getting gaslit, or is the gaslighting
Yeah, like,
really getting gaslit? Are you being
Yeah.
it's
gaslit?
obviously
It
based
takes
off of a
months
Or
to
are
movie.
you
find
just
out.
crazy?
Yeah, and during the movie, the entire time he's like, "Where's my friends?" And she's like, "They went home. It's fine." And
Yeah, no. I'm gonna have to say red flag.
Ian, red flag,
Sounds
green flag.
sounds like a good time to me.
Green flag.
I mean, obviously that's yeah, I don't know. I mean, red
Ian's like my
red
my
flag,
gypsy friend.
fine.
No, you can say green flag.
No, it's
You
fine.
can ditch
He
your
doesn't know-
friends.
I mean, no,
he
it's-
doesn't know how to party in
Yeah.
Europe.
whatever country.
Y'all party, that's
Yeah.
that's fine. No,
Yeah.
red flag, red flag.
Okay, Ryan, what are you saying?
I mean, they're gaslighting. I don't know. It seems more like a check engine light, and I'm just gonna ignore that shit like I normally do.
They are sloppy sluts.
Yeah. I'm gonna say green flag just because, I mean, I don't know. I want to see if my dick still works. So let's find out.
Yep.
You know, let's see what it takes.
My dick
Let's take this thing to the limit.
All
In the
right,
Balkans.
Ryan, Jake, red flag, green flag.
Red flag. I'm getting out of there. I'm seeing the rest of Europe in the Balkans. You know,
What was that?
I don't care if I find my friends.
That was
But
the
I'm-
alert sound. I'm gonna do the alert sound for every red flag.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
scary.
that's Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
cool.
All right.
It's like a train whistle, but like a really fast one.
Was it really loud?
No.
Oh, okay.
Medium.
All right. Scenario 5. You and your celibate super Christian high school girlfriend decide to go out to a local waterfall / swimming hole for the day. After a while, you decide to go behind the waterfall into the cave behind it. You both go and try to get warm and begin kissing. As you begin getting hot and heavy with it, your girlfriend becomes uncomfortable and tries to leave your love cave. Red flag or green flag?
I'm gonna trust my vagina here. That might have that's trying to tell me something with its teeth. And it's a red flag. Or green flag. I don't really know what I'm
Wait,
answering
are you
to
the
actually.
girl? Are you the who's
Who am I?
Who's where?
You're the boy.
Oh,
I'm the
that-
boy?
You're the rejected party.
Yeah, you're
is the way
you're-
to think
like,
about
you guys
it.
are making out, and then she's like, "I don't want to do this." Jesus is watching, and then she leaves.
Okay.
Is that? Do you go after her? Or do you say "fuck that bitch"?
I mean,
So
you should
not
say
a red
fuck that
flag,
bitch.
green flag.
Well, I mean, red flag is like if she leaves and that's a red flag to you, you say "fuck that bitch,"
Ah,
and if she's worth fighting for, you go after her.
Fuck
gotcha.
that bitch.
I'm jerking off in those waterfall.
Yeah.
Hello?
The right answer is red flag. I think
Red flag.
Jake was trying to say something to me. And
No. Ryan was pointing at you.
I was just pointing because Jake was talking. You had the microphone over to you, so it's you're fine.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. So Ian, red flag, green flag.
So as a fellow man of God, I'm gonna say green flag.
Nice.
And
Nice.
Keep going.
maybe I'll see her at church.
No,
sometime.
he's gonna go after her and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Just keep trying to fuck.
Wait, are you
No.
are you going after her to I thought you were going after her to force her behind the waterfall. Like the red would
No.
be
Yeah,
to
that's
stay
what I was
behind.
This is not a rape. No, don't rape.
It seems
scenario.
like
this
this is your rape waterfall. I thought red was like, oh, let her go, just chill.
no.
In your waterfall,
red
is your waterfall.
Red is
You're like, I'm just
in my mind. Red is she leaves, and then he's like, you know what? I'm at this waterfall. I'm just gonna chill. Fuck that bitch.
Okay,
Alright.
I took
Green
it the
flag.
way I'm with other
I
Jake
don't-
on this one.
I have no idea what we're doing.
like is this
Sorry.
is this girl a bitch for leaving when I wanted to fuck?
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I pursuing her to like pin her down?
Yeah, try to pursue to like.
Or to be like, you know what,
Why
you're
do you-
right. Let's
You guys think the scenario is go take her by force or not?
No.
Sounded like it.
It's not about go take her by force. It's more of like, it's like red flag is the red flag that she didn't want to put out. Like, it's
Well,
like,
is it? Would it be a red flag
If
to
you
you?
look
Yes.
it that way.
okay, all right, I see what you're saying. And so, did Ian already answer?
Yes,
He
I
said green
I
flag.
am
He's
fellow man
he's a
of
super
God.
Christian boy who's
I
okay
am-
with the fact that she doesn't want to have sex.
I'm going to say green flag
God.
because she has the right to say no. However, there would be, I think you have a right to be annoyed when things are getting hot and heavy and it doesn't work out in your favor. You have a right to be annoyed, but you don't have a right to do anything about it other than go home and jerk off, which is what, like, it's what I would do. Like, it's like, just go jerk off. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much good porn out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green flag. It's my turn. Green flag. I didn't understand it at first, but yeah, just be like, I don't want to have sex behind this waterfall either. Let's like, if we want to do that, let's go home. This was a bad
Seems the
idea
point to-
anyway.
What did I
Let's
answer?
not have
I
sex
don't remember.
outside.
I don't remember what you answered.
All right, that's okay.
I don't remember either.
I was confused. by the
Nobody remembers.
concept.
All right, good. No one remember. No one think about it.
We're all trying to tell you to move the mic.
I was
It's a
too
new
busy
game,
holding the
folks. We're
microphone
still
too close to
ironing
my
out
mouth.
the details.
It's the new game called Jake and Emily Share a Mic.
We've been playing
has
it for
been the game
12
for
episodes.
12 episodes where we don't know how to share a mic and I don't know how to sit still while I talk in the microphone.
And you also don't know how to use a hamper.
That'll never happen.
You can't forget that.
What will happen first, the hamper or another mic? We'll see.
Boom roasted.
This whole podcast is roasted.
All right. Scenario 6.
All right.
Scenario 6. You and this cute guy go on a date for an ice cream. After you both get your ice cream, he suggests that both of you eat it in the backseat of his car. As the guy gets down to the bottom of his waffle cone, down to the chocolatey bottom, he looks at you and says, "This is your asshole," and begins to tongue lick the bottom of the cone. Red flag or green flag?
Brown flag.
Give him that's red and green together. Brown.
Yeah, brown flag, brown flag. That's a red flag. I'm leaving. Am I trapped in the car? Where is this from? Is this from something or is that from your brain?
How well?
No, this
how
is
well
from
do I know this
a-
man?
It was like a red flag first date article I was reading on like Cosmo or some shit.
We're talking
Oh.
first date.
Oh my
Is this
God.
happening on a first date?
On a first date?
You don't know me
Apparently
that
it
well.
was on a first
I'll-
date.
I'll get into it.
That's kind of
Is
that's
it
kind of funny on a first
is it a
date.
nice car?
I was picturing a Saturn,
Oh,
but I don't
fuck-
know what you
Get
were
the fuck out of there.
I was picturing like a 2007 Civic.
Yeah.
Saturn is like a big dick car.
French fry.
So that's a red. That's a green flag
It's a green flag for a big dick car.
Yeah.
She loved-
for a Saturn.
What model?
She loves
The
Saturn.
Eclipse.
It's not that I love it. It's just that that's what it
Okay.
is.
Big dick car.
Big dick energy
So
car.
is this red flag or green
BBC.
flag?
Oh
Ian?
god.
Not knowing what kind of car.
Not knowing what kind of car.
Just knowing
not-
the
it's not a
flavor of the
Subaru.
bottom of the
It's not,
cone.
it's not a
We need writers.
it's not a Porsche. God damn it. I mean I don't know. I mean, hey, why not? Sounds fun.
Would you be
I
if a
don't-
girl talked about eating your ass on a first date, would you be into that or not?
I'd say no.
Different. Am I taking the?
So am
Okay,
I the
that's
girl?
red
Am
flag.
I the girl in this?
You're the girl in the
Okay.
scenario, but you
I feel like they like
you
getting their
can
ass
still-
licked more than dudes, though.
A guy comes off.
Oh,
If
no.
a girl said that to me, I'd be like, "That's
Yeah, I'd be like,
that's a green flag."
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's I mean,
I
I
think-
think being
I think a guy would
aggressive
like it just as
female
much. They
is
just don't
different.
know.
If Barbarian has proved anything to me, it's that being an aggressive male or being an aggressive female is a lot different.
I'll
Yeah.
say, I'll say,
Whatever she wants,
s-
whatever you know you want it.
I'll say green flag.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Green flag.
Party.
All
But
right.
like, stay away from my
Ryan.
asshole, though.
He also just had a chili dog. the same spot.
All right,
Did that
Ryan,
fart come
is
through?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It came through. We heard it.
It was wet.
Is this a red flag or green flag, Ryan?
Can I have some context?
I'll use
it's
his
a-
context.
it's-
Well, no,
it's
I'm
a
like
first-
from the body language and the way that they're saying it, can I tell that they're joking or if they're serious?
I'm gonna say
roll
it-
intuition.
it's
or whatever.
it's a way that you can't tell. Like
Oh, it's like
if it-
right in the
like,
middle.
well,
Perception.
it's a way that like
Insight.
if you knew the person, you could know whether or not he's joking.
Yeah, this is
But
a
you,
first
like,
date,
you don't.
right?
It's a first date, so you don't know how he jokes.
That's true.
So he's just like, "Hey, this is your asshole," you know, something like that, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know about this."
Yeah, that's a gigantic red flag. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
can't. Yeah, no. I'm not into ass stuff, and two, like I just feel like that's very. If you're that forward on a first date, then how forward are you going to be on like the third date?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Actual.
That makes
I don't know. It could be like
Assy.
ice breaking. I don't know. This is a brown flag. This is a mix. It'd be super hilarious. Be like, oh yeah, that was get it right out. That like how irreverent someone is really important, and I think it's important to be really irreverent, like almost like to like a crazy degree. But I think I'd still give a red flag first date in a lot of ways. I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm in the role of a female and it's a dude, it puts me into him or just a smaller dude into that dude or a bigger dude, whatever dude,
Yeah.
whatever
You
person I'm
also-
inhabiting.
You also have to
Whatever.
remember in this scenario that supposedly happened, he suggested that they eat the ice cream in
Yeah.
the back seat of his car.
Yeah.
and
Which
he was.
Adds to the fact that he's most likely serious about eating asshole.
He
That's
says
scary. Yeah, yeah. I don't
he
like
says
that.
this to all the girls
Anytime-
he takes out to ice cream.
Anytime you talk about like sex time on a first date, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah, it's like let me show you how I would
Little
do it
hardcore.
to your booty hole. Yeah. Yeah. It makes me pucker right up, which is probably hot to that guy. Probably wants to spit his ice cream out into it. Turn the podcast off,
Holy-
Mom.
Yeah.
Sign up for our Patreon for more.
Money me.
Scenario 7. You and your boyfriend have finally made love for the first time, and you decide to stay over at his place. In the middle of the night, you're awoken to the horrifying sounds of gnashing teeth and metal clanging. You look over, and he's sitting up in bed, eating a bowl of waffle crisp cereal. Red flag or green flag?
Chomp, chomp, chomp. Scorn, scorn.
Wait, does-
scorn.
I feel like
Yeah,
Jake
thank you, I
doesn't Jake
appreciate
not do
that.
this?
This is Jake.
Yeah.
Jake did this.
Yeah, yeah,
This
I'm
is
trying to- Just trying to suss out how I feel about it.
Just
First date,
just
that's a green
breathy
flag.
gulp.
Just
If
hi.
it happens every single fucking night,
First date, red flag. First date, that's a green flag. You meet a guy, you guys hook up, and then you wake up in the middle of the night, he's eating cereal right next to you.
no.
This is specifically first date.
Specifically, first
First night. First
first
night of
sexy
fucking.
time.
First love making.
First night staying the night.
Prima nocta.
I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a red flag, but I'll stay another night.
It sounds like a mix between the Metal Gear Solid sound and you just like squealing a balloon, like
Oh,
pinching the stem.
yeah.
So stupid.
All right, Ian, red flag, green flag.
I mean, I think that's funny as fuck, but I also don't have to deal with that every night or any night. So
What if you did?
I no longer eat in the bedroom if I eat like a fucking caveman in the corner of my living room with the lights off. If I wake up,
I'm not going to do that. I just turned around and looked at him away.
give me the death stare when I ate cereal one night.
As soon as I woke up to the sound of clanking and teeth mashing,
A
and
man haunting
and
his
he
own
doesn't do it
home.
anymore,
yeah.
which I appreciate.
But in this household, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper, so I don't really care. So a green light. Eat,
Nice,
eat
dude.
your cereal. I don't care.
Green light.
Nice, dude. Thank
We-
you.
I'll move.
Green
We're off.
light.
All right,
Wow.
Ryan. Red flag, green flag.
For the first time, I can see how that can be pretty off-putting. You should be off-putting. I think I don't know. I'm gonna say red, but it's a light red, like it's kind of like a pinkish.
Pink flag.
Yeah, like because it's not like horrible, but it's like it's something that would turn me off enough to where I'm just like,
Yeah.
Again, it's just like, okay, first time we fuck, you do this. Like, are you sitting? If the 10th time, are you sitting with like a pot of chili? Like what? Like what's next?
Yeah, what-
You know? So yeah.
What cereal?
This
That
is
do
the
happen sometimes
slippery
as well.
slope fallacy, or we're
No,
going
he
with
said what
2 in a
cereal.
row.
Oh,
Yeah,
You
I
said
mean-
it's waffle
You said what
What are
cereal?
you trying to marry a dog next?
Yeah. I said waffle crisp.
Oh, that's not bad. That's fine.
So I'm gonna say red.
All right. Jake, red flag, green
This is a
flag.
green flag for me. I don't mind it.
Nice.
Closer.
I wouldn't. I
wants-
generally don't care or am annoyed by things that people like actions people take. I'm more annoyed by their words.
You listen. You probably
wants a bite
listen to
in bed.
soupy cereal noises to fall asleep anyway.
Yeah, essentially, it's a lot of cat and
Oh,
blizzard
yeah.
noises.
Yep.
All right, let's this is the final one. This is scenario 8. You and your date are fooling around in bed. You take your time, feeling every curve of her body and the warmth of her skin.
I really feel it. Red band.
Yeah.
Craig band.
Okay, I'm done.
You and your date are fooling around in bed. As you take your time, feeling every curve of her body and the warmth of her skin, her horned up, writhing body begins to get down on all fours. She looks back at you and says, "Quit farting around and fuck me." Red flag or green flag.
I think she wants things to move and she's being aggressive, and I respect that. So that's a green flag.
Ian, red flag or green flag?
I respect her taking control. Green flag.
All right, Ryan.
That's a fucking
flag.
red flag. Like what the fuck? What the fuck? Dude,
It's different, Ryan. It's okay.
listen, no, you can't talk like that in bed. You can't. This is
Rules on stuff like
a
that.
real life fucking story of a porn that I watched where a girl said this and I shut the fucking I couldn't even finish. She said this fucking shit and I was like, nope, turn that shit
Sometimes
off. Went to bed with blue balls. Like, no. No.
Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes
You know,
Red flag.
I don't know.
All right. What is Jake saying?
To me, this is a green flag. You know, you say what you want in the bedroom. It is
Sense of humor.
forward. It is like I'd be like, okay, oh shit, oh, all right, we're just barking orders now, but let's do this. You know, and then you just figure it out. You improv.
I'd hope that'd be your actual response. Be like,
Okay,
okay.
all right.
Yeah, all right. We're just
Oh, geez. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the Canadian response.
Yeah. Oh, you betcha.
Oh fuck. Oh my god.
All right, and that was red flag, green flag.
Should we be a dating podcast?
I think we move over to
Maybe.
relationships.
All right, I guess now we just it's time for us to go to the wheel and decide what movie we're going to do.
Thought.
Oh, well, you got to think about it. So, the Patreon, as Ryan mentioned earlier, is last week's guest, Parker, and he has recommended Rec, Spanish Rec.
Thanks, Parker.
Thanks,
So-
Parker.
So we're doing Rec. All right. So, I don't know who the top is, so let's just we'll just go in age order. Emily, what do you want to recommend?
Go back to Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
Oh fuck.
Solid.
No, that you won't. You're
It's
you're
nice.
fine.
Yeah.
Now
You're
that I've
fine.
seen Hereditary, it's like whatever, dude.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's
That's literally how I live my life every day.
all right. Rosemary's
I've
Baby.
seen Hereditary. Anything is fine.
Help him.
What else can you do
All right.
to me?
Ian, what do you want to suggest?
Is the B movie out of question? No.
Is that
No.
a horror movie? Dude?
I mean, it's pretty scary.
It's pretty
Uh,
horrifying.
It's thrilling.
I'll do The Visit still. I think I had that last week or the week before.
Okay, The Visit. Yep. All right. Ryan, what do you want to do?
Oh,
You did
shit.
Hereditary last time.
I did. Is Evil Dead Rise streaming yet?
No, but
think it will.
the
Or no, shoot, I don't remember. Yeah, I think.
Did we just
I
watch
don't, we watched it on Netflix.
Oh,
But all the other Evil Dead
that's
movies
right. The first
are
three, I think,
are
on-
going to be on Hulu. Yeah, and the 2013 remake is also going to be on HBO Max,
Yeah.
I think,
Max
or Max.
So
So Evil Dead Rise is not, but all the other Evil Deads will be.
are they like a consistent storyline?
No.
They're fun though.
If I was gonna suggest one of the Evil Deads, which one would you think?
If you're 2 is my favorite. That's Sam Raimi. And for actual being effective as far as kind of creepy, scary, the 2013 one's the best in my opinion. So it's
Let's-
between those two.
2's like the funny one, right? Kind of.
2's the funny one, yeah.
All right, let's go with 2. Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2. I was gonna suggest that, so you took mine.
Oh, sorry, man.
No, it's all right. I like I said, I was just trying to go off of what movies are on streaming services that you guys have. All right, Jake. Last time you did The Descent.
Oh shit! I didn't realize I changed mine again. I'm gonna change it once more to 2005's Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek. Nice, dude.
Back to the classics.
One of our listeners, Nathan, suggested that movie because he lives in Australia.
We're just streamlining the process. I'm reading their minds.
All right. What was it? What? I'm sorry. Like I said, Ryan took mine, so not complaining.
After you're done with this, we still haven't tallied the amount of sleepless nights Ryan has had from Hereditary.
Oh Jesus, yeah, you're right. We'll
Yeah,
get into that.
let's check up on that.
All right.
Nice sleeping, sweetie.
Let's.
I fall asleep to that movie.
Jesus Christ.
Ian,
Red flag.
looks like
Red
they-
flag. Red flag.
That dude eats nails for breakfast.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do. Fuck. I'm gonna stick with Field Guide to Evil. Actually, I don't know. I was going between Knock Knock, Field Guide to Evil,
Sleazy.
or American Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I love it, but I feel like I've done too. I have no idea how I feel about Field Guide to Evil, so I'm gonna stick with that. All
Do it
right.
with your friends.
So
Interesting choices this
Figured it
Yeah.
out with your friends.
All good movies.
So we've got on the wheel, Wreck, The Field Guide to Evil, Wolf Creek, Evil Dead 2, The Visit, and Rosemary's Baby. So let's spin the wheel. And it is Wreck.
Wreck.
Oh yeah.
Patreon pick
Oh.
Wreck.
Patreon pick Wreck. See, if you donate to the Patreon, you can get picked. It's proof right
Yep.
there.
This is at least the second time.
There is some
Oh, yeah.
great scenes in this movie.
Yeah, Fresh was a Patreon pick too.
But
Yeah.
Classic
Favorite-
scenes.
So yeah,
Alright.
okay,
Ready
cool,
to
cool.
watch some
Thanks
Spanish.
for your support. International
hell yeah.
community.
Hell yeah! All right. Well, as I mentioned earlier, follow us on our social medias. I already said them twice already, so you fucking know what they are.
Oh yeah. Wait, Ryan, have you slept yet?
Oh
since last
shit!
week?
Yeah. Okay.
How's your sleep?
Yes. Let me tell you a
Come
story
on.
about how when I watched that movie, literally the day after is when my girlfriend went out of town for like 4 days. So I was alone.
Good timing.
Oh no.
Did she keep
oh,
her head?
yes. It was not a good time. I think 3 nights probably had trouble sleeping.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was taking NyQuil to like knock me the fuck out, so I just didn't have to like try to fall asleep.
He's pain.
He got
But
used
yeah,
to Zanny.
it was a bad time. It was a bad time.
As
It was
Danny in a white
You're
glove.
used to
and it was
a
that
crossfade at this point.
Standing in a white.
Crossfade.
it was that fucking guy. It was the smiling naked guy, dude, just standing in my
Damn.
doorway.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
every
Yeah.
fucking time, dude. Like, ugh. So I mean, I
He's right
am
behind you.
happy.
Red flag. Get out of my bedroom.
He's right behind you.
Yeah, I'm happy that I have proven to myself that I
Yeah.
can still be scared. But
Yeah.
it just takes a little bit more than it used to. So yeah, we still got a podcast, guys.
Nice.
Train
And
is
I'm
on
still
the
here.
tracks.
Yeah, and Ian's still here.
Ian's still here. Ryan's still scared.
Yeah, we're
got a
we're
podcast.
cruising. We're cruising, baby. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
That was a terrible sign off.